morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. This is Naeem Aslam, Chief Market Analyst at AvaTrade, and welcome to our weekly webinar series. In today's segment, we'll be covering how to trade Bitcoin, and this comes at a very, very important time frame. Now, first, before we do anything else, first of all, please give me a sound check. And of course, there you go. Shane has already gone way beyond it. I was going to say the screen check as well, if you can see. And then Shane is saying that all is good on his side. So that means it is good for on everyone's side as well. Thank you, Sandra, for that as well, for the confirmation. Welcome everyone once again, and I'm excited to have this particular master series, conducting this master series on behalf of AvaTrade, where I work as a chief analyst. So on a daily basis, we provide all the analysis in terms of a written format and also on a YouTube channel as well. And apologies, of course, for a little bit of a delay. A very small delay that we had was primarily because of some tech issues, and I was just trying to figure out what's wrong with the sound. So now let's begin. As always, the first thing first, and that is, give me a sec. I think something is going wrong. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. I think I have some issues over here. Let me see what is the problem, and then I'll be back with you shortly. Apologies, guys. I had that tech, that just something wasn't working properly on this side. Now, let's see if it's working now over here. There you go. So as always, the most important thing is a risk warnings for you guys to go through. So anything which we've discussed cannot be perceived as advice. A full disclaimer is right in front of you. As mentioned earlier, the Twitter handle is AvaTrade, and the YouTube handle is there as well. So this is something quite unique at AvaTrade, which is our unique technology called AvaProtect. It's a revolutionary one-click risk management tool available on the AvaTrade web trader and AvaTrade Go app. With AvaProtect, you can purchase protection against loss for a defined period after opening a position. If the protection ends and you have an open position that is losing, AvaTrade will reimburse the loss directly into your trading account. The only cost is the AvaProtect fee itself. Now, on to the agenda, and then some of the usual study questions are in front of you, and we are not gonna really go into much detail in relation to that, but because we want to do some more important stuff today in with respect to the price and with respect to where Bitcoin is doing. But what is Bitcoin? Obviously, we all know it is a digital currency. It is something that is very much replacing gold, or on the way to replace gold, because the market cap for Bitcoin as of today is $1 trillion US. Does anyone know what's the market cap for gold? Can you tell me that? Anyone wanted to take a guess on that? What's the market cap for gold? Do you guys know the market cap for gold? It'd be great to have some answers in relation to that. That's great. So someone has said that it is about 7 trillion, so you are not too far. So the market cap for gold is 8 trillion US dollars. Not 11 trillion is a little bit too much, but yes, it's about 9 trillion US dollar. That is what Tristan it is. Tristan that it is. But thank you very much for answering that question and then making it your contribution over here. Now, the second question in relation to the same study among study question is, what is a flash crash? Why is it important for us to know that what is a flash crash? Do you guys know what is a flash crash? There you go, an answer coming in when the price begins to fall like this, like a falling knife. When the momentum is like this, that is what you call a flash crash. They are triggered by big heavy sell orders or sometimes by mistake as well. Now, of course, Bitcoin over here is very much considered currently as that it is controlled by very few hands. Only few people are still very much controlling Bitcoin, despite the fact that there has been a big news about Bitcoin, and then which I will discuss that just in a bit. But overall, that is absolutely correct, Shane. The price suddenly drops to the floor. That's the definition by Shane. So with Bitcoin, that is always and always a risk when it comes to that Bitcoin's price can certainly see a massive flash crash sale. We have seen few instances of that. We have seen, but not like where the price started to drop like there is no tomorrow, and then it continues to drop. But then we do see some of those flash crashes recovery in the market as well, which of course we will look at it by going to the chart and then describing what is a really a flash crash, and then how intensive the flash crash can be. In terms of a Bitcoin, the flash crash can be quite intensive because, as I mentioned earlier, the overall supply for Bitcoin, which we have currently, is controlled by very few hands. So they are very much regulating everything, so that the probabilities of that flash crash happening in this space is quite, if it happens, it could, or at an extensive stage, at an extensive pace, there could be some serious problems with that. Now, what is moving Bitcoin price? That is the most important price over here. That is the most important question. Any guesses in relation to that? What do you think? What do you guys think is moving Bitcoin price these days? There you go. Shane is saying that it is about ETF. Thank you very much, Shane. That is absolutely correct, because recently we had the ETF approval for Bitcoin. Now remember, investors and traders have been waiting for this ETF approval for a very long time. Since when? That is since 2017, we've been hearing these rumors that Bitcoin ETF is coming, and when it's going to come, it's going to bring massive momentum in terms of a Bitcoin price. It did bring the momentum into the Bitcoin price, because Bitcoin price made a new all-time high of almost approximately 68,000 from its previous price level of 65,000. But generally speaking, the market expectations were that when the Bitcoin ETF will be approved, the prices would go up to at least 75K. That was the expectation. So the way that the momentum was happening in terms of the price, the way that it was coming to that is all-time high, the previous all-time high, and then the way it broke, it kind of made it clear that this particular price action isn't going to be coming into play that soon. So that was clear from the early price action, really. And something else which is also very much moving in terms of the Bitcoin price also is the institutions. They are very much getting involved into this space of Bitcoin, of the volatility that we've talked about in terms of Bitcoin. Of course, is a very volatile asset class. They wanted to deploy some of the capital, and of course the regulation, because as of yesterday, what we had in terms of a new regulation news was that now they are setting up a new committee in the United States in order to guide banks how to deal with Bitcoin. So obviously, that is going to be a very interesting improvement. That means that more and more companies would be kind of accepting, banks would be accepting Bitcoin price, a Bitcoin as an asset. So that will become things a lot more easier. Now, something else which has also come into the light very recently is the SEC filing. So what was in the SEC filing was that the SEC filing showed us that there is a probability, higher probability, that the Tesla will begin accepting Bitcoin once again. So that is certainly very, very positive in terms of a Bitcoin price, because remember, Bitcoin price going to all the way to 65,000 price level from its previous price of a 30,000 or so pretty much happened because of Elon Musk pushing the price and Tesla accepting that. That's what pushed the prices to over here. So this is quite an intriguing really outcome in terms of the price, where it can really go. Now, the next particular element, which is quite interesting in terms of a Bitcoin, is supply and demand. Now, we know that on the demand side, there is infinite demand because everyone wants to get a piece of that, whether we are talking about institutions, whether we are talking about banks, whether we are talking about family offices, everyone, or retail investors, everyone wants a piece of a Bitcoin. So that is pushing the demand side high. Now, in terms of a supply, a lot of Bitcoin is already mined. So very small amount of a Bitcoin is very much left. So that is pushing the price on, that is pushing the supply on the demand side. On the supply side, my apologies. So supply is going lower, demand is going up. So the overall reaction in terms of the price is that the price is going to be moving to the upside on the back of that, because when the supply is limited or supply is going down, and on the other side, we have demand moving to the upside, the price of any asset class under those circumstances moving to the upside. That is just a simple relationship between supply and demand. Now, where is Bitcoin heading? Now, this is where I need you guys to bring out your, let's say, innovative thinking tools out. What do you think the Bitcoin price would be by the end of this year? Let's throw some numbers out. Okay, so Shane is saying 85K, Sandra is saying 75K. What about the rest of the people? Shane has changed the number from 85 to 100. Laura is saying 100. Dean is saying 80. Antonio is saying 150. Amutha is saying 80. Okay. Any more numbers? Any more? I just wanted to see it. So feel free, because there's no such answer as a wrong answer. To be honest with you, whatever you will say, it would be really good. Okay, so Shane is saying that 75 as a low and 100K on the top side by the end of that. Okay. Suzanne Cook is saying that Bitcoin can touch $85,000 per Bitcoin by the end of this year. Rizwana Sethi believes that the low side is going to be on the 75K, the high side is going to be by the 95K. So overall, what we're really seeing is that most of you guys, what you see is the low as the lowest low for Bitcoin in terms of the lowest price is going to be in 75. And Antonio believes that the Bitcoin price by the end of this year could be 150,000, but the average among everyone else is about 80 to 90,000, I would say, is the average for everyone else. That is pretty freaking good, because I believe the Bitcoin price by the end of this year is going to be touching this number. I believe that this is very realistic number. By the end, in the next 2 months, next 2 to 3 months, we could easily see Bitcoin prices going towards that, if the momentum continues the way that it is continuing, really. So that would be very cool. Now, let me ask you another question. The other question is, what do you think the Bitcoin price would be in 2 years' time? So now the question is, 2 years' time, what is your prediction for Bitcoin price? What do you think where it can be sitting in 2 years' time? So any guesses? Now I see people are a bit hesitating to throw numbers, but Antonio is saying 300,000. Fantastic, my friend. Sandra is saying 250. Tristan is saying 300. Amita is with the mere minimalistic target of 150,000. Dean even gone down. What's wrong, Dean? You are saying $60,000. Much lower. Shane is saying that it's going to be between 100 and 150,000. Suzanne is saying hard question, but 180K. And Dean is saying it will plateau from there onwards. Okay, so we have Dean on the pessimistic side. We have Antonio on the optimistic side of things, and everyone else is falling in between that. Now, for me, I am going to be agreeing with the people who are saying price from what could be the figure from my side? Come on, you got the first one. What do you think the next two figures going to be? You have two, so you know that I believe that the price is going to be over 200. What do you think I'm about to write? 50, Antonio is saying. Antonio, my friend, you are not far from that. So I believe that it is going to be between 250 to perhaps, I love to see that 300 over here. But let's see if we touches that one. But the way that the prices are moving, I think it would be very easy for the price to really go in around that, or at least 220 mark could be very, very possible. And I believe that is what Suzanne is saying as well. Suzanne Cook and Suzanne Bridge, that I was about to write 220. Yeah, but I was actually thinking, so the low side could be 220, the high side could be 300K. If we hit 300K, guys, I will be selling some of my Bitcoin for sure. So when I will be selling my Bitcoin, so here are some of the levels that I like to sell them at. I would like to sell some of Bitcoin at 100. I like to sell some of Bitcoin at 200. I like to sell some Bitcoin at 300, and remaining, I like to see them going all the way to 500. I believe that these are very, very potential targets in terms of a Bitcoin price, that these are the levels which can be hit. So I think 500K is also possible in a 5 years time. I think we could easily see that number. Okay, so as Rizwana Sethi is asking that how we can buy Bitcoin. So Rizwana, if you don't want to buy the CFD, because at Ava we have the CFD, get in touch with me on my Twitter, which is so you can search me on Twitter, which is Naeem Aslam 23. That is my Twitter handle, and I can guide you from there onwards what to do if you wanted to buy physical Bitcoin, not on the CFD. If that is not your preference, there's nothing wrong with having a CFD there, but you have to keep in mind when you buy CFD, you are buying a leverage product, and that could be very, very volatile for you. Buying an actual a Bitcoin could be much beneficial. So do get in touch, and then we can talk about that offline. Right, now Where is Bitcoin is something that we had a pretty much fun. Now defining levels and the most important in relation to that, where the Bitcoin price, what are the levels that we got to be very much looking at. So let's see if I can get this thing to work. Escape, and let me bring the MT4 if I can bring it back out. Having a lot of tech issues really today. Right. So what we have in front of you right now is obviously Ethereum first. So Ethereum's price chart is something that we need to also be mindful of. Right now it's trading at 4,000. It kind of did its new all-time high almost over here, that 4,345, but failed to cross above that mark, which is certainly was a matter of a concern. But now let's see how low it is going to go. We believe that somewhere near that 50,000, 50-day simple moving average, which is represented by this pink line, could be a great area of support. So here I'm going to draw them for you guys. So the first area of support in terms of Ethereum's price is going to be just right around where the 50-day simple moving average is trading. And then we have another better area of support, which is going to be where the 200-day simple moving average is trading. But we certainly don't want the price to come that low. So we wanted to keep an eye where the 100-day simple moving average is trading. So it's really about that previous resistance over here. That could be it. So level number 1, level number 2. And as for level number 3, I wanted to focus on this area of consolidation over here, just below that 200-day simple moving average. And I think this could be a great area of really to focus on in terms of Ethereum's price. Now, there is an area which can also be targeted among investors, especially for the ones who don't want to wait for too long, or wanted to miss the opportunity. And that is right over here. So that 3,671 area could, or 3,800 area could be the first potential aggressive area of support, especially if the price breaks below the lows of this one. This could be the area. And something else that you wanted to keep an eye on is your 4-hour time frame. Obviously, we have crossed below the 50-day simple moving average for the first time in a very, very long period of time, because the last time the price kind of crossed below the 50-day simple moving average was right over here back in September, 12th of September. Now price has violated that. And then on something else you also wanted to make sure that you wanted to keep an eye on at the same time also is that the RSI over here is very much moving towards the oversold area as well, which is a good sign. That's what we want to see. On the daily time frame, it is moving away from this one. But one thing again we wanted to monitor over here is the lower lows which are forming in terms of the RSI. We want to have a higher highs, not lower highs, because the price over here is moving to the higher side, but the RSI is forming lower highs. That is a negative divergence. It's not really too great for the price action really, and that is something that we have to be very much mindful of, and certainly something which is worrying me right now. You see, like in terms of a Bitcoin, we don't have that. We have a higher high formed over here, because this high and then there's this high, and then obviously this kind of very much falls in line in terms of the price action. But for Ethereum, that was the other way around. Now, of course, the price is moving away from its overbought area, certainly something that we want to see. On the 4-hour time frame, it is clearly telling us that the prices are oversold now. As you can see that the RSI has reached the 30 area, so it means that the prices are likely to bounce very quickly from the current area. Now, the area of support in terms of the price action really could be just this consolidation area on the 4-hour time frame right over here. So you can buy it as of now if you like to. on the if you wanted to have that aggressive stance on that. Otherwise, there's an other on the daily time frame. The area of support is going to be right around over here. I'm just going to change the color slightly for this one, just a shade, a little lighter shade on that, so green, so to keep things slightly bit more different. So this is the daily time frame. If you are trading on the daily time frame, this is the area that you want to be very much focusing on, and that is 5,500 to 5,300. Otherwise, on the 4-hour time frame, if you are aggressive investor, then you want to see 56,000 to 58,000 price level where the price is trading at. But again, on the 4-hour time frame, it shows us that the area that we picked up on the daily time frame has more strength, because this is where the 200-day simple moving average is ticking in as well. And if the price continues to fall further, the RSI is going to be very much touching that 19 point, and that means that the bounce that we are likely to see from this area is going to be very, very, very strong, possibly, right? So this area is going to see massive, pretty decent bounce from here. Something else that we do kind of wanted to keep an eye on is the head and shoulder pattern formed over here on the 4-hour time frame. That is your head, that's your shoulder, this is your shoulder, and then again this is being your neckline. So obviously if the price breaks from 66 to 5, let's say 6,000 down, so 6,000 down is really going to bring you to 54,000 sort of a price level. So that means that this area, so from 66 from here to, let's say, just around over here, that 58, so this is about 10,000. So 10,000 is going to push us pretty much in around this area, right? So the area of support, which if the pattern completes its full projection, means that the price is really going to be coming in around this particular price level, and that would mean 50,000 per Bitcoin to 51,000 per Bitcoin. That would be pretty heavy sell-off, given the circumstances that the price would see. And if the price comes over here, that means that 50-day simple moving average, it would be very much encompassed. This RSI is going to be oversold in around this area like that, and that means the prices are going to be moving to the upside, right? So I hope that this kind of answers a lot of questions that you guys may have had in your mind. The time has come to an end, unfortunately, so we have to stop this over here, but we will be back with more analysis next time. Until then, thank you so much for this, and I will see you guys next time.